Hi, good morning, everybody. Sorry about the little bit of a late start. This morning's questions and answers session, more than welcome to send them through to Baden. Type in your questions, raise your hand, see if we can get you to do them live. So let's start with some questions and answers that are bugging or that are relevant or that you guys need help with. So if you guys are ready, let's start shooting with the questions. While you guys are typing and starting up there, I've had a question around the COCs. The two standards, 1352 and 1010.6, have not been amended. So the guys that are installing heat pumps and solars, those are still a requirement. The rest of the COCs, you'll find that some of the service providers or incident managers and people have been business as usual. So just bear in mind that those two standards, 1352 for the air source heat pumps and 1010.6 for solar installations, still require a COC. I see a question popped up on my cell phone here. We'll be doing the balance of the 10400 series next week, Thursday is the 18th, and then the 25th we'll be doing the last one. So there was a break this week from that series, but next week and the week after that, we'll complete 10400 series. Okay, I see another one coming on my cell phone. Guys, we've been posting your questions in the chat box or the questions and answers tab. I've had another question here around inspections by the building control officer. Yes, it is a compulsory inspection, or it is a compulsory requirement for drains to be inspected once completed. You'll find that 10400 Part P, 10252 Part 2, and your local municipal bylaws will require that you get the municipal sign-off. Anything to do with the 10400 series or the National Building Regulations is governed by the local authority. So we get a request, or you need to submit a request and allow 2 days for the inspector to actually pitch up and have a look at your drain before closing it up. The requirement is very clear: before closing it up. After that, you'll find that the guys do their open drain inspections and tests while it's nice and open and the eyes are clear. Get the torch in the mirror for the bore test, get the building control officers out there and get the thing approved. Once it's covered up and paved and everybody comes around, it normally becomes a bit of a hassle. So yes, we do call for those inspections prior to covering up any work. I don't think my cell phone's been this busy all week. Thanks for that question. The current legislature, the question is raised about the use of multi-layer pipe outside. We've discussed this on a number of platforms. It is still not acceptable. The 10252 Part 2, Part 1 for water, and the actual manufacturer spec requires or states that the multi-layer pipe can only be used inside buildings. You'll find that a lot of the multi-layer manufacturers, they actually got that note on the pipe. Use it with air fittings and inside buildings only. So yes, unfortunately, theft is an issue, but we can't have a material left outside that would not be suitable for use.
Yeah, I see we have a question attendee here, Zander.
Okay, thanks for this question, Rob. The question reads: the sizing of the cylinder on a solar installation. It's a bit of a tricky question. IOPSA have made a submission, or we're in the process of finalizing a submission to the SABS. The last edition of SANS 10400 has got an astronomical design or requirement for hot water. I think a two-bedroom house works out to around 300 liters if you do it according to the book. I think it's more important not to get dragged into this sizing thing up front. It is a design, it's part of the design of the building to be approved by the local authority. So once they have approved that design and you work according to that plan, if you see anything wrong, you're more than welcome to raise it or have a notice or something in writing differentiating between what the guys have submitted and what you actually have on site. But the sizing of that hot water cylinder is the responsibility of the designer of the building, and it needs to be approved by council beforehand. So just have a look at the drawing. If it's very obvious, like 50 liters on a two-bedroom house, and you raise your issues or your concerns before you issue the COC, or before you sign off on the COC, and make sure you have written proof of it. Other than that, we are pretty much left with the designer that needs to do their work. Okay, thanks for your comment, Clive. I was just reminding us that the average that we're working to would be 50 liters per person, and we also working on two people per bedroom. So it was always 200 liters on a two-bedroom house, but after the latest edition of 10400 XA, they required a 50% increase. So it's down to 300, or well, it's up to 300 liters, but it is being negotiated. See, behind your question, how to obtain your license to install hot water cylinders. At the moment, the licensing or the licensed plumber registered with the professional body would be the PRB. So if you're qualified, you do the assessment to be registered as a licensed plumber. But that would be for heat pump and solar. And like I said, some of the manufacturers or insurance brokers or one of the incident managers, they still require a COC. So Brian, I would suggest you get hold of the PRB officers and see if you can get yourself lined up or booked for that assessment. And then once you're registered as licensed, you'll be able to buy COCs and install and issue those COCs from the professional body. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Michael, I see your comment. Information about the SANS, the objective of these tech talks is you'll find that if you look at the IOPSA YouTube, we break down the standards into little bits and pieces. Offhand, I can remember Richard doing the one on the discharge from the TP valve, from the tray overflow. I've done some around the requirements of the stacks. So the intention of these tech talks on a Thursday morning is around breaking down the standards into little bits and pieces around things that are relevant. We do have a portal on the IOPSA website. There are various ways of getting the important things, or the important thing around this whole matter is that you need to, like you say, you need to get that information. It's part of what you do. So at this stage, if you do the IOPSA LMS or you go to IOPSA YouTube channel, you'll find there's a breakdown of little bits and pieces, shuttle valves. I've done isolating valves. There are a number of things on that IOPSA YouTube channel that you can access. But getting the standard sorted, it's a copyrighted document. You actually need to get it from or buy it from the SABS web store. Get the information, check with your local IOPSA guys. I'm not sure which region you're from, but they have IOPSA have technical backup in all the regions. So if there's any like immediate or relevant questions, you could actually contact your technical guys. Or like I said, you could contact the IOPSA. You'll check on the website there. We do have question things. We have Facebook. We have various platforms where you can raise relevant questions. But the information around the ISO or SANS documents, it's simply getting down to making sure that you have a copy of the document, or whether it be electronic. I've got mine stored on my cell phone for easy access. But once you bought them, it's your document and you can work away from it. I hope that answers your question. See, another one has popped up here about the shuttle valve and the expansion. The standard is very clear. There's about 10254 and 10252 part 1. Both of them require that if you do have a shuttle valve, because of the arrangement of the installation or the current installation, if there's any form of isolating valve or flow, they actually refer to flow devices. Otherwise, a non-return valve, blending valve, anything that's got directional flow between your expansion relief on the pressure control and the cylinder is not allowed. You need an additional little expansion valve that could be installed on a three-quarter tap T, or just cut in on a T-piece between the valve or between the PCV, between the isolating valve and the cylinder. I hope that answers your question. Anyone else? And we still have about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, next question. I'm going to refer you back to the IOPSA at YouTube to find that I've done a thing around access on drainage. It's something that is supposed to be checked by the municipality, but basically we're looking at access at every change of direction exceeding 45 at different intervals depending on the size of the pipe. On a normal domestic drain is 25 meters. There are a number of references for on a pipe access above ground, making sure you can get through the stack into the drain, making sure you can get into the manholes. There's a table the presentation. There's a table that indicates the distances between rolling eyes and manholes or eyes inspection chambers, and the various definitions of those points of access. So it's quite a lengthy subject that was squashed into that tech talk, but most of the information and tables will be available on it. Thanks, Kurt, for that question. The point around venting, which is also available on that channel, on that tech talk. On a single stack, you'll find that the venting system needs to be extended upwards without reduction in size. So if you look at a double-story building, that would be 110 mil open vent on that stack. And we've had queries around the vent horn bends. If you look at a vent horn bend being with a 50 on the top there for the ground story level, you'll find that that's a bit of a problem. The definition of a stub stack as per the standard is a junction with a 110 mil full bore access on the top. So the way we were taught would be 110 mil junction, end cap, open the end cap, and you'll have a drain rod or a plunger fitting to that. If you do the vent horn bend, firstly, most of those vent horn bends or the vent valves that are being used are below flood level, but that's besides the point. The 50 vent that you use needs to come off the side of the stack, which would then still leave you with the 110 mil access from the top. So if we look at that access, or we look at the venting, you'll find that yes, it is acceptable to use a 50 mil vent on ground level, on ground story level, but they're not in the place of the 110 mil access. Hope that makes sense. Okay, Gavin, I'm not sure the brand that you mentioned in your question. They claim to be hot, cold, and inside underground. I'm not sure what their paperwork look like or what their certification look like, but the standard says that as the current legislation is, that there is no plastic pipes allowed outside on the wall. I don't know of any pipes that have been approved for the use other than the white soil and vent drainage pipes. I'm not sure. Maybe just get a copy of their certification, but as far as I know, there are no plastic pipes approved for use outside. They actually called the standard 2018 standard refers to polyolefin, which includes the polybutylenes, the polyethylenes, all of those plastic or the ranges of material. They all form part of those plastic pipes, and none of them are approved for use outside. Okay, I think the last one or the last question here that popped up on my phone around uh, outside buildings, if it's a non-residential building, those taps or the terminal fittings, normally the garden taps and that they need to be either of a type that can be locked or the handle removed or of a like a metering tap type or a demand type tap top. We don't lose if you can't stop someone for you from using water on a premises once everybody's gone home, then it is not according to the standards. The standard says you either need to be able to lock it, or it needs to be of a demand type, or you need to have a removable handle to make sure no one wastes any water. Okay, anything else from your side, Barney?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, 100%. So, guys, if you do have any questions, like I said, contact our IOPSA. We do have that facility that you could post questions, or you could actually just, like I say, approach your local IOPSA technical guys or your local IOPSA. They'll take care of your questions. And if not, we'll raise it through to our national technical guys. So we've always got your back. Just make sure you ask before you do. Okay.